Have you ever questioned whether the people in your life are actually supporting you or whether they are only taking advantage of your goodwill? It's like not knowing which way to turn to make real connections when you're at a crossroads. You are not traveling alone, though. While every person's experience is different, we all face the difficulty of sifting through a web of relationships and separating the sincere from the ostentatious. As Marcus Aurelius once said, it's critical to recognize the kind of people we surround ourselves with. Now let's get to the core of the issue. We're going to look at 16 subtly telling signals that someone could be taking advantage of you in this video. These aren't just any old tips. Rather, they are thoughtful suggestions derived from knowledge of human nature and emotions. These tips will enable you to look past the obvious, from identifying one-sided interactions to identifying instances in which your kindness is being taken advantage of. But you might wonder, why is this important? You deserve partnerships that make you feel good about yourself and bring out the best in you. It's important to build and maintain relationships that are genuinely fulfilling rather than merely avoiding users. This has to do with your well-being and personal development. Are you prepared to change the way you see and handle relationships in order to make more sincere and satisfying connections? 1. A decline in comments. Diminishing remarks are like unseen boulders in a stream. They may appear insignificant at first, but they can trip you up as you go through life. Imagine confiding in someone and having them minimize your aspirations, or expressing a personal accomplishment only to be met with a scornful, "That's all." These aren't simply idle comments. Some people use them as deceptively subtle tools to instill constant self-doubt in you. Their goal is to make you feel inferior so they can appear larger than life. From a Stoic perspective, these remarks provide a pause for contemplation and fortitude. Recall that the fundamental principle of Stoicism is the understanding and control of emotions rather than their suppression. When you hear comments like this, consider the Stoic idea that your power is in your response. Therefore, concentrate on that. Recognize that these remarks reveal more about the speaker's fears than they do about your value. You can choose to give these comments power over you or to view them for what they really are, which are reflections of someone else's inner struggle. It's their way of expressing, "I feel threatened by your success." How do you respond? Respond to these remarks calmly and confidently. A Stoic refuses to become involved in pointless verbal arguments and instead maintains their sense of value. Be in the company of positive individuals who sincerely encourage and support you. From a Stoic perspective, life is too valuable to be diminished by the fears of others. Retain your inner serenity and listen to your actions. After all, your self-esteem is not a weapon that can be used by others to erode it in the Stoic quest of personal improvement. It is your strength and protection, impervious to the vagaries of those who would exploit you. 2. Unfulfilled expectations. Have you ever observed that certain people in your life seem to be talkative but uninvolved? They weave tales and make promises with the dexterity of a skilled storyteller. They're like word magicians, but when it's time to take action, they disappear, leaving a trail of broken pledges in their wake. This is the deceitful act of illusionary investment, when words are cleverly strung like glittering jewels to divert your attention from the actual lack of action or commitment. It's important in these circumstances to pay attention to both what is said and done. Unlike words, actions are truthful. They are the real gauge of someone's dedication and intention. Promises are a warning when they turn into freely provided but infrequently redeemed currency. Observe the pattern. Does this person routinely fail to meet expectations when they count most? If so, you should start doubting their honesty. It would be like working on a house with someone who brings lovely blueprints but never shows up. Words by themselves cannot lay the foundation for trust. And never forget that being discerning is more important than being cynical. A harmony of words and deeds is the foundation of relationships and trust. It's a warning sign when someone's words and actions don't line up. It's an indication that they might be more concerned with projecting the appearance of support than with providing it. By realizing this, you give yourself the ability to choose wisely who you invite into your inner circle. Your time and emotional investment are valuable after all. Save them for people who behave honorably and sincerely, in addition to speaking the truth. 3. Managing connections can frequently resemble walking a tightrope, particularly if you're experiencing unilateral benefit. A unilateral advantage is similar to when someone else enjoys a boat ride while you row it by yourself and don't give anything in return. Imagine being the giving in a relationship all the time, lending resources, support, or time, only to be met with utter silence when you find yourself in need. It's a clear indication that you're not given enough credit. It goes beyond simple generosity. Mutual respect and equilibrium are taught by Stoicism, and these are necessary in any healthy partnership. Your generosity or availability don't determine how valuable you are. Acknowledge this unbalanced relationship and have the guts to draw lines. It's self-respect, not selfishness. Have frank discussions and observe who grows. People who don't value you back are only creating space for those who do. In relationships, quality is superior to quantity. You deserve to be treated as a person, not just as a resource, and to have a healthy, reciprocal relationship. You deserve a helping team on this life journey. Don't settle for a one-person show. I mean, what other way could you develop? Show no concern for your wants or feelings. When someone persistently ignores your wants and feelings, it can feel like you're carrying a bigger weight than you realize at first. It's a subdued, frequently quiet method of control. Imagine that whenever you speak, your words seem to vanish from their ears before they even get a chance to be heard, or that when you're lying down, people pass by you as if you're just another piece of furniture. This goes much beyond simple negligence. It's a calculated move to maintain control over you and a blatant betrayal of the Stoic ideal of empathy and respect for one another. They take on the role of the artists in your life, creating a landscape of neglect and apathy with the colors of your needs unpainted. This habit is a huge warning sign that your relationship is in trouble. To begin releasing yourself from these bonds, tune in to your inner voice. Have faith in the soft voice that says, "This isn't right." You are the protagonist of your own story. You are not a supporting role in someone else's. Speak up when someone brushes off your feelings. Honoring your sentiments is more important than inciting conflict. It could be time to reassess the relationship if they don't listen to your demands. Be in the company of individuals who can see you as well as hear you. Relationships ought to be two-way streets leading to mutual satisfaction rather than one-way alleys. The principles of Stoicism include inner strength and self-respect, which are essential for identifying and overcoming emotional neglect. Recall that encouraging others to respect you starts with showing yourself respect. Walking away from people who don't respect you can sometimes be the most powerful thing you can do. On the list, manipulating emotions. Think of the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, who once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This profound realization is your shield against the deceptive tactics used to manipulate emotions. Imagine navigating a connection, a relationship, or even a job if someone's covert goal to control your emotions causes your confidence to decline instead of a personal transformation. Under the cover of a friend or ally, the manipulator deftly undermines your sense of worth. They use a devious combination of compliments and criticism to weaken you till you need their approval. This is a subtle attack on your autonomy, a fundamental tenet of Stoic philosophy rather than just a loss of trust. Adopt the Stoic discipline of self-awareness and personal sovereignty to resist this with steadfastness. Have faith in your intuition. Pay attention if conversations leave you feeling more depleted than inspired. Your first step toward empowerment is becoming aware of this. Boundaries are the walls of your mental fortress, not just lines in the sand. Raise your hand to defend your principles, point out discrepancies and, above all, interact with those who value and support your development. Marcus Aurelius tells us that we are the masters of our own mental space. By defending it, we defend the Stoic virtue of self-control against emotional manipulation, in addition to honoring ourselves. Your most significant asset is, after all, your peace of mind, which you should protect with the Stoic wisdom of a warrior. 6. Insufficient real support. A true support system is the cornerstone of any meaningful partnership. It's similar to having a personal support system that sticks by you through good times and bad. However, what occurs if this assistance is absent? It's comparable to tightrope walking without a safety net. You move, expecting a supportive word or a helping hand, but all you get is silence. This lack of presence is a huge red flag in any relationship. It could mean that you are with someone who views you more as a tool than as a partner in development. Real support is about having someone who loves your aspirations as much as their own, not about agreeing with you all the time or constantly encouraging you. Without it, your victories and tribulations are insignificant to them. They may follow your stories with a nod, but their attention is elsewhere. They resemble shadows that arise in bright sunlight and disappear at the first hint of a storm. These kinds of connections are exhausting and make you feel isolated in your pursuits. It is important to identify these trends. If you experience hollow words or indifference toward your joys and sorrows, it's time to reassess the quality and direction of your relationship. Surround yourself with individuals who truly care about your well-being if you want to prosper. Finding people who challenge and encourage you, who share your wins and stand by you in your setbacks, is more important than looking for yes men or yes women. Building relationships based on respect for one another and sincere curiosity is not only refreshing, but also necessary in a society where interactions can frequently be shallow. These are the connections that not only endure the passage of time, but also advance you, enhancing your life with a feeling of comprehension and common goal. 7. Ongoing competition. You are facing the silent scoreboard, a covert indicator that you are being used, when every exchange feels like a tally in a covert game of give and take. In contrast to a friendly rivalry that fosters growth and mutual success, this is a one-sided contest in which the goodwill of one party is met with a silent bill, and the favors of others are really transactions. The Stoic philosopher Seneca cautions us against these kinds of inequalities in relationships, stressing the value of sincere bonds over strategic trade. You get the impression that every action in this silent scoring game has consequences, turning friendships into ledger entries. Setting limits and being aware of this are essential to conquering it. Recognize that your value isn't determined by what you can contribute to someone else's total. Since genuine Stoic wisdom encourages us to value connections for their authenticity rather than their utility, cultivate relationships based on mutual respect and support. By doing this, you release yourself from the burden of unspoken grudges and embrace the essence of Stoicism, cultivating relationships that improve your life and the lives of others. You've persevered through to the halfway point, which demonstrates your commitment to personal growth. Leave a remark saying, "I attract genuine connections in my life," or whatever makes you want to talk about your experience. If this information speaks to you, subscribing is a terrific way to stay in touch. Your participation immensely benefits our community. Let's move on now. E2. Not showing up at crucial times. Fair weather friends are like shadows. They are around on your best days, but disappear at the darkest. This behavior pattern is a clear indication that someone is being used. Imagine yourself in a good moment, surrounded by smiles and laughter, but their support disappears like mist the moment the tide turns. These people see relationships as nothing more than conveniences, as means to an end. Like actors, they perform their role when the script suits them, but when the scenario calls for more from them than they can provide, they walk off stage. It's not simply disappointing when they abandon you in times of need. It's a clear indication of what their genuine motivations are. Being Stoic helps us to see things and people for what they really are, not for what we would like them to be. A Stoic response to such behavior is about self-respect and clarity, not about harboring resentment. Think about these connections with an open, lucid mind. Recognize that true friendships are put to the test by hardship rather than happiness. It's time to reevaluate someone's place in your life if they routinely show up when you need them the most. Keep in mind that the fact that someone does not recognize your value does not make you less valuable. Rather, concentrate on strengthening your bonds with people who support you through good times and bad. 9 is non-reciprocity. Suppose you are in a relationship where you are the one who provides all the care, attention, and even your Netflix password. The other person, meanwhile, seems to only accept helping out occasionally, if at all. This is a typical example of non-reciprocity, a warning sign that is flagrantly flapping in the wind of your encounters. We learn the significance of harmony and respect for one another in relationships from Stoicism. It's time to take stock if you're the one who texts them every morning, arranges dates, or listens to their concerns without ever getting the same response in return. Does this connection feel more like a lonely one-way road, or is it a two-way street? Examine yourself first in order to correct this imbalance. Stoicism focuses on comprehending and modifying our own reactions rather than trying to change other people. Is this imbalance something I'm enabling by keeping my wants to myself? It's more important to maintain a positive dynamic of mutual exchange than to maintain score. Be vocal and communicate your demands and feelings. The other person will try to strike a balance if they appreciate the relationship. Should they fail to do so, it may be an indication to reconsider the partnership. As a modern-day Stoic sage, keep in mind that your well-being and peace of mind come first. Not just one person should feel listened and respected in a relationship, both should. 10. Desertion. Disloyalty. Betrayal is a stealthy storm that forms beneath the surface of relationships, sometimes going unnoticed until it hits. It encircles the pillars of faith like a sneaky vine and gradually wrings their vitality away. One may wonder, how can I identify this lurking danger? Being mindful is, thus, your first line of protection. Observe how the give and take in your interactions are balanced. Is there a pattern in which they always take from you and you always give? It's like losing an emotional tug-of-war and coming away empty-handed. Let's talk about solutions now. It's important to take action in addition to simply recognizing the problem. We learn about the power of observation and response via Stoicism. You are in charge of how you view and respond to these circumstances. If there is betrayal in your relationships, face it with the composure of an experienced Stoic. Maintain open communication while establishing clear limits. It involves more than just assigning blame. It also involves assessing the situation and choosing your course of action. Are you going to rebuild or fix the crack? You have the option, but choose carefully. Remember that your emotional health comes first, and that you are strong enough to make the decision to follow a path that respects and reflects your ideals. 11. Limited availability. Often a subtle but effective manipulative tactic lurks under the appearance of a busy existence. Now let's talk about selective availability. Envision yourself as the go-to person, available at all times and willing to assist at a moment's notice. You are always there, like a beacon in the night. However, if you switch the scene, the change is noticeable. Their availability is unique and on their terms, similar to seeing a glimpse of a shooting star. It's a decision, a strategy, not a question of conflicting schedules. They manage the relationship's tides by keeping you at a distance. They catch you in a dance where they set the steps every time. Your calls go unanswered, and your messages drift into the abyss of the internet. When they do get in touch, it's usually to further their own objectives, making you feel like a prop in their narrative. This disparity sows uncertainty and erodes your sense of value. Do you feel appreciated? Do your efforts have an impact? This is where Stoicism comes in, providing a prism through which you can reevaluate and recover your authority. By encouraging you to perceive things for what they really are and removing emotional clouds from your perspective, Stoicism teaches the art of perception. It's about realizing your worth regardless of what other people think of you. Remember, your value is independent on their whims. Accept the Stoic discipline of introspection. Analyze the dynamics of the relationship with clarity rather than resentment. This isn't about erecting barriers. Rather, it's about establishing limits and realizing that work and respect for one another are essential components of a strong bond. Recall that you are the creator of your own self-worth on this self-realization path and not just a spectator in someone else's story. 12. Creating a sense of guilt. Guilt is the go-to tactic of a skilled manipulator when it comes to manipulation. It's a cunning ploy to give you the impression that you are constantly in debt. After all I've done for you, or I thought you cared about me, are examples of phrases they could use to convert every favor you receive into an undeserved debt. This strategy takes advantage of your kindness to make you feel horrible for ever considering saying no. The truth is, though, that you owe no one your time or effort just because they ask for it. Prioritizing your needs is not self-centered. Rather, it is essential. Here, the ability to say no is essential. It's about having enough self-respect to establish limits. Recall that your generosity cannot be exchanged for anything that other people want. The lesson of Stoicism is to not allow other people to dictate how we feel. Someone is attempting to take control of your emotions when they manipulate you with guilt. Keep them from doing so. Consider this question carefully. Am I doing this because I want to, or because I feel like I have to? Stoics advocate behaving on the basis of reason rather than coercion. It all comes down to being authentic. Something is probably not right if it doesn't feel right. Have faith in your instincts. You are in charge of how you respond, and sometimes saying no is the strongest thing you can do. It's about living a life that is truly your own, not just about not getting used. 13. Absence of individual concern. You're probably in the grip of a one-sided relationship if conversations frequently feel like you're playing tennis against a wall. Your remarks are only incidental to what the other person is doing on their own. It's like emptying your emotions and ideas into an infinite abyss, anticipating an echo, only to be met by silence instead of someone saying, "I'll pick up where you left off." It's about being acknowledged, not simply heard in this case. A real discussion is a verbal dance, a mutually enriching give and take. It is a clear warning sign when you find yourself excluded from conversations on a regular basis. It's not only bad communication, it's an indication that you're not being treated as a valued conversation partner, but rather as a sounding board. We learn the value of empathy and respect for one another in relationships from Stoicism. It's time to consider the worth and stability of the relationship if you're being disregarded all the time. Your voice should be heard, not ignored. Finding the right places for your voice to be valued is more important than just raising your voice to correct this imbalance. In this case, our choice of who we interact with is what we can control, which is what Stoicism advises us to concentrate on. It could be time to shift the topic of your conversation to someone who actually listens if your words are not understood. This is judicious use of your emotional energy, not surrendering. Seeking for connections where your opinions and feelings are valued and not merely heard is a sign of self-respect. Your feelings and experiences are the core of your own story, not just supporting characters in someone else's. Select to share them in places where they will not only be heard, but also eagerly and intensely repeated back. 14. One-sided discussions. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation when it seems like you're just listening to someone else's tale? That is an isolated discourse, a cunning ruse in the social exchange game. Imagine yourself listening intently to their stories, nodding in agreement and giving an encouraging, "uh-huh," but as soon as you add your 2 cents, the conversation suddenly changes. They become inattentive, fidget, or worse, reroute the conversation to themselves, which is their favorite topic. Comparable to a tennis match where one player refuses to let you serve. Yes, it is frustrating. Should this seem eerily similar, it's time to face facts. The goal of Stoicism is to acknowledge your value and confidently declare it in a calm manner, not to endure in silence. You are more than just a background for someone else's monologue in these one-sided discussions. You are a unique individual with a wealth of experiences and knowledge. The next time you find yourself sidestepped in a discussion, gently bring the topic back to one of equality. They are obviously more interested in an audience than in having a conversation if they evade. Remember at all times that in conversational art, your voice is a melody that should be heard, not an echo. Maintain your integrity and don't be afraid to look for the balance that is necessary for any meaningful encounter. 15 item is superficial proximity. One subtle but common trap to watch out for when navigating the maze of modern relationships is superficial closeness. It's similar to a mirage of intimacy, where words and deeds provide the impression of a connection, but don't actually convey true emotional depth. Plans are formed and then promptly abandoned in this type of relationship, where promises are as thin as fall foliage. This trend is a purposeful tactic, not just a communication snag. The other person stays close enough to gain from your presence, but not close enough to fully commit. You might feel less like a valued person and more like a convenience in their life because of this convenience-based engagement. Realizing this tendency calls for a review of the dynamics in your relationships, not just a eureka moment. Does the emotional investment balance strongly benefit them? Do you feel that your efforts have gone unappreciated? It's important to interpret these signals as a call to move away from relationships that diminish true connection and respect for one another, rather than as a reflection of your own value. Living a life that aligns with our values and honesty is something that Stoicism teaches us. When we do this, we have to have the guts to turn away from people who view relationships as nothing more than conveniences. Rather, we want to look for relationships that are based on sincerity and have mutual support and progress as their cornerstones. These genuine exchanges provide us with more than simply company. They also start a common path toward individual and group development. 16. Persistent disrespect. Being in a relationship with someone who consistently ignores your feelings is like trying to find your way through a maze without a map. You find yourself in a relationship where their loud demands overpower your voice, making your needs seem like little more than murmurs. It is imperative that this persistent disrespect be acknowledged. It's in the little things, not only in the major disputes. When you speak, does your spouse pay attention, or do they brush your thoughts under the rug like a fly swatter? Do they respect you when you express your feelings, or do they treat you like a bull in a china shop? We learn the importance of self-awareness and self-worth from Stoicism. It's a huge warning sign if you feel little, ignored, and undervalued all the time. It's not about spectacular confrontations. Rather, it's about the small cues, like rolling of the eyes, snarky comments, and decisions that are taken without consulting you. These are the telltale signals that indicate you are not valued as a team member, but rather as a pawn in their game. It takes more than simply acknowledgement to go from being a passive victim of disrespect to an assertive champion for your value. It calls for action. It's time to reassess if conversations feel like treading carefully and your words are misunderstood or ignored. Realizing what you can manage is the essence of Stoicism. It is not about bearing suffering in a stoic manner. Although their actions are beyond your control, you are able to alter how you react to them. Convey your emotions with composure and vigor. When they arrive late for the 100th time, don't just accept it with a sigh. Instead, tell them how much it devalues you. Speak up if your views are consistently ignored. It's important to defend your dignity rather than picking a fight. You matter, your thoughts matter, and your feelings matter. This is about making sure your voice is heard and appreciated, not only about re-establishing harmony in your relationship. A Stoic is someone who recognizes their value and demands to be treated with the decency they are due. They are not doormats. If this video resonated with you, please remember to hit the like, subscribe, and switch on notifications. Your awareness and growth are important to us. Your participation enables us to provide more material that speaks to your quest for relationships understanding and self-improvement. Recall that power comes from information, but only when utilized and shared. So do share your ideas and experiences in the space provided below. Together, we can create a community in which we can all benefit from one another's experiences. Uncertain about what to say? We appreciate your participation in this session, which is led by the wisdom of Stoicism. Just right. I welcome genuine connections in my life. Continue being mindful, remaining stoic, and working toward improving yourself.